Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. In the hot seat tonight is Rustom Lawyer of Augnito. Rustom, thanks for taking the time to speak with us today. Before we talk about the innovation that you are doing at your business and, of course, how you responded to the pandemic and the crisis and the opportunity, if I can call it that, first and foremost, I want to understand the business model that Augnito has and offers. What can you tell us?
Sure. Thanks so much for having me on the show, Sunanda. And we're essentially in the voice artificial intelligence space. Voice actually is the most natural way for us to communicate as humans. But it's also increasingly becoming the most efficient way to start communicating with computers as well. And if you look at healthcare as a use case, if you look at the main infrastructure of healthcare, the electronic medical record really is at the center of it all. And one of the key sort of problems with an electronic medical record is that doctors find it very laborious to have to type into these systems. But finally, it's the data that comes into that system, which is very important. So our voice technology and our company Augnito really provides a voice user interface for all these electronic medical records to make it super easy for doctors to be able to dictate into these systems, with extremely complex language. We like to say we've got the entire language of medicine inside our software. And, you can also do a lot of command and control of these systems. So voice really has started coming to, a great prominence during the pandemic. In fact, we've rolled out across most of the major healthcare systems in the country, at least the private ones. And, we're also in most of the sort of diagnostic centers and areas where a lot of the CT scans and MRIs and X-rays and all are happening as well.
So voice, as you're saying, is coming of age. So I want to break that down and say, what's the potential? What's the size? How's it growing? What are the big opportunities really when it comes to using voice, whether it's in healthcare or otherwise?
Yeah, I think our industry is completely shot to prominence, in the last few months because the leader really globally is a company called Nuance Communications. And they recently have been purchased by Microsoft for close to $20 billion. So I think, large companies like Microsoft clearly are seeing the value in this type of technology. And, we're actually currently the leader in the Indian market. And we've spent a lot of time actually doing a huge amount of human-centered design and understanding what we need to do to really design for this market in a sort of more specific way, really. Automation really is at the key of being able to scale up for our market. If we're planning to spend and increase our sort of budgets for healthcare, which currently, extremely low if you look at it from a global sort of benchmark, we need to do that in a very smart way. And one of the ways to really invest, in areas like automation, which is going to make a huge difference, really, and you're going to get much more bang for your buck.
So we're talking about the size and the growth. So, what's the opportunity? What's the challenge? And what is really holding businesses and the industry back when it comes to either innovating, using voice, or just using voice technologies? What's really holding companies back? What's that challenge?
Yeah, so I think, we clearly, are seeing a lot of traction already happening. But when you look at the voice space, there's several opportunities. I'll give you an example. There's a company recently in Israel which has come up with an app that can detect COVID up to 85% accuracy just from the sound of your voice. So the voice actually has a thing called a voice biomarker, right? So for example, say if someone was depressed, you could potentially, from the tone of their voice, be able to highly accurately, using these deep learning systems, tell if someone actually has that. So think about it as from a diagnostic tool that can be scaled to, a billion people on an app, right? Available with you, and the sort of cost and, the disruption that this could have, right? So I just think that really getting the message out there is very important, at the end of the day. And I think the minute people realize that the potential that this technology can bring, people are actually embracing it very fast.
When we're talking anything to do with technology, and since we're talking technology and healthcare, we have to talk data security for this market and industry. What can you tell us about data security for the voice market? How and what you are doing at your own business when it comes to protecting consumers' data and customers' data, and really the entire picture when it comes to data security for the voice market? What's happening on that?
Sure. No, I mean, it's a great question, and it's absolutely core to our business. And I think, if you're going to succeed in the healthcare space, you need to take this extremely seriously, and you have to actually invest in this. Nowadays, there's actually a lot of technology that's come to make sure, like anonymization technologies and, the way that things are stored and, audited as well. So all these type of things together, it's like a constant sort of cycle that you have to keep working on and keep improving on. But at the end of the day, it is an area that has to be looked at, invested in, and good policy to make sure that you actually have a balance between the ability to leverage data, right? And also, of course, make sure that the information is kept in the most secure way. And I think people have been able to do that quite successfully in the financial sector. So I don't think that it's going to be a problem to achieve this in healthcare.
So, mid to short term, what are the opportunities looking like for you? What are your plans? What can you share?
We were recognized by NASSCOM as one of the leading automation technologies for hospitals, and it's certainly been a very, very busy period. Um, you know, it we when we just started, in Jan 2020 with Augnito, and the pandemic just hit. For a few months, it was obviously a lot of hospitals obviously dealing with this issue. But very quickly people were realizing that if you want to give a contactless type of technology, something that can get a lot of things done. Um, Voice technology really has been very helpful for a lot of people. And, you in a current situation, there's a lot of sort of administration and things that are there around with doctors. But today, with this, we've given them mobility, we've given them the opportunity to work from home, and do all this important side, which is the admin side. But also, if you look at areas like discharge summaries, right? Today, bed shortage is such an acute problem. But using Augnito, actually, people have been able to, get their discharge summaries done very, very rapidly. And, you can actually move people in their beds and, keep that process moving. So there are many use cases where it's being used and, providing a lot of value, we believe.
Before we end, I do want to reference Microsoft's buy of Nuance. What that, if anything, does it mean for entrepreneurs here in India who are in the voice space?
No, I just come back to the fact that if we're going to support a billion plus population, and give them the best quality healthcare, automation is just going to be absolutely central to this. I think my advice to entrepreneurs really is to embrace uncertainty. You have to live with that as an entrepreneur, but you have to keep going, right? And if you want to succeed, you have to keep at it and go for your vision. We've actually been at it for close to 2 decades now. And the R&D that's gone into building a voice recognition engine like this has taken us many, many years. We've worked with professors from MIT, Sheffield University, IIT Bombay, and a lot of the time it's just been a very, very long road to achieve this. And I feel at the moment, just extremely proud that our technology is helping doctors, at this most critical time.
All right, Rustam. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us here, and all the very best. That wraps up